Good day, everyone. We are from University of Mindanao Tagum College, conducting the study entitled Quantitative Assessment on the Community Engagement of Police Officers Basis for Intervention Scheme. So, before anything else, I am Miss Girly Faith Leopardas, together with my group mates, Mr. Kenneth Jill Halup and Miss Angel May Gaum, taking Bachelor of Science in Criminology. So for the first slide, let us start for the rationale. Police community relations is primarily the practice of public relations, which is a collection of communication techniques used by individuals or organizations to convince an audience about the merits of an idea, organization, program, practice, or policy. So, public relations tries to convince based on appeals to reason. The public relations tends to be one way from the police department to citizens. The problem here is that what a police department views as good for the department may not necessarily be good for the community, or it may be good only for that part of community to whom the police are particularly responsive and not for the other parts. This is according to Fountain 2017. Like what the phrase said, maybe dili tanan police department views is makaayo sa tanan parte sa community or sa komunidad. Or maybe tinuod na good or makaayo jud siya pero in some parts lang po sa community. So applicable gahapon di ari kibali ang police visibility, which is if visible kung asa nga community visible ang mga police or responsive ang ato ang mga police officers, dito apod siguro somehow makita ang police department views is effective or makaayo. And then there are many reasons why the police have difficult interactions with the communities they are supposed to serve and protect. Many of this stems from the fact that overall police departments have contrasting perspectives, poor communication, and concerns about the nature of social control in a poor and free society. This is also according to Carlisle 2019. So, in the process of developing an independent professional bureaucracy, however, the police lost communication and control with their client communities. Further, the increase in crime has brought pressure on police to manifest their professional excellence by reducing crime, which has in turn tended to fuel repressive tactics of law enforcement, particularly in high crime city communities. So, the researchers would like to identify the level of community engagement of police officers in Tagum City. So this is the main goal. This is our main target as the researcher because this gives them a familiarity with the impacts of community engagement that impact or affect their faculty's sure characters. So through this, they can survey what system and techniques to be utilized, and along these lines, they can advance preparing an expert improvement to upgrade the abilities of our police officers. And second is our community or the community itself. This will make them educated about the constructive character of the police officers. So let's proceed to the next slide, which is the objectives of the study. So, this study will be conducted to assess the community engagement of police officers. Specifically, the study will be conducted to seek answers to the following objectives. So, this is the following: to assess the level of community engagement in terms of 1. Collaboration, 2. Consultation, and the last one is about communication. And number 2 is to propose an intervention scheme based on the result of the study. So this is our objectives. This is the objectives of the study. So let's proceed. Now let's talk about the theoretical lens. This study is grounded to the proposition of Myhill 2006, which states that there is a strong theoretical case for community engagement in policing. It is suggested that informal mechanisms of social control play a greater role than formal mechanisms based on traditional, reactive, and enforcement-based policing. So greater community participation in policing is likely to have benefits for both police community relations and actual levels of crime and disorder. So this is our theoretical lens.
Method. So in this part is diri mahibal-an kung asa lang maga-focus ang ato ang study o asa lang nga lugar mag-conduct og survey. And also in this part diri pud mahibal-an kung unsa nga method ang ato ang gi-employ. And this study employs a quantitative research by process of gathering the data was based through the use of survey questionnaires. The target population of this study are the police officers in Tagum City. The participants will answer the survey question provided by the researcher. So, random sampling is a sampling method in which the researcher chooses samples based on his or her subjective assessment rather than selecting samples at random. So, it means ang random sampling daw it is a sampling in which the researcher randomly selects a subset of participants from a population. So, for example, diri sa Tagum kay diri mo gyud ta naga-focus diri sa Tagum mo gyud ta is magkuha lami og isa ka barangay, mag-select mi og isa ka barangay nga diha lami mag-conduct og survey. Materials and instrument. So, diri is mahibal-an diri kung kung kang kinsa nga instrument survey ang ato ang gi-adapt og unsa atong mga indicators nga ato ang gi-adapt. So, a research instrument is muna siya ang tool used to collect, measure, and analyze data related to your subject. And the instrument survey in the study was adapted to the survey of Deckard's 2015. It was a researcher-made questionnaire to suit the context of the study. The set of questions deals with the community engagement with the following indicators: collaboration, consultation, communication. So, kani, ang atong indicators is also known ni siya as engagement style ni Deckard's, which nga we can by these indicators is dita we can move up the ladder of participation in terms of collaboration, consultation, and communication. So, in this table, help us to determine the range, the level of description, and the meaning of each description. So, 4.30 to 5.0, it means very high. So, that the level of community engagement is very much observed. 3.50 to 4.20, it means high. This means that the level of community engagement is much observed. 2.70 to 3.40 means moderate, and this means that the level of community engagement is observed. 1.90 to 2.60 means low. This means that the level of community engagement is less observed. 1.0 to 1.8 or 80, it means very low, meaning this meaning that the level of community engagement is not observed.
Significance of the study. The significance of the study presents the importance of your research. It gives you an opportunity to prove the study impact on your field of research. The new knowledge it contributes and the people who will benefit from it. First is police officers, community, PNP, DCGE, future researchers. So, this will be beneficial to the Philippine National Police, which is the result of this study can serve as literature or evidence in providing efficiency of the PNP organization. This can also provide views and options on how to improve the performance of police officers in performing their duties properly. So, the result of this study will guide the police administration in deciding and developing the effective strategy of taking an action to those police officers accepting gratitude. So, the Department of Criminal Justice Education can possibly develop a new procedure and guidelines that will be taught to the students regarding to the perception of police officers about acceptance of gratitude. The result of this study will serve as a guidelines of criminology students of how they stand firmly to understand the possible consequences that will affect their profession in the future. The result of this study will possibly become a guide of the other researchers who would like to conduct a study of the same subject. Design and procedure. After the thesis committee approves the study, the researcher will prepare the research instrument which will be used in gathering data. The researchers will submit the modified questionnaire to the advisor for checking. Afterwards, the panel members or experts will validate. The researchers will personally administer the questionnaire and will give instructions to the respondents, which are the police officer in Tagum City, and retrieve the questionnaire after being responded. All the results will be recorded and analyzed by the statistician and interpreted by the researchers. So the study employed the descriptive type of research in which the main tool was a researcher-made questionnaire. The study used descriptive method of research designed to determine the extent of the community engagement outcome. So the study employed the descriptive research design, for it will measure the level of community engagement of police officer. Descriptive research involves collecting data to test and answer questions on the subject study. A descriptive study determines and support the research. Descriptive data are usually collected through a questionnaire, survey, interviews, or observations. K. 1996. Pertinent data will be gathered with questionnaire and will be subjected to appropriate statistical treatment.
Now, let us proceed to our results and discussion. So, the overall results posted a mean of 4.54 with a standard deviation of 0.46. So, from our three indicators, which are the collaboration, consultation, and communication, we added the results from the three and then divided it also into three so that we do have the overall results, or our mean, 4.54 and a standard deviation of 0.46. So that by having our mean and standard deviation, it shows there that an effective community policing method are being implemented in Barangay Visayan Village, Tagum City. So in terms of collaboration, consultation, and communication, the level of implementation of effective community policing methods in Barangay Visayan Village and Tagum City is good. Now let's proceed to the highest mean we do have, and it is the collaboration. Among the three indicators we have, collaboration received the highest mean, which is 4.58, and it has the standard deviation of 0.49. It indicates that efficient community policing techniques are being used in Barangay Visayan Village, Tagum City. And the second indicator, the consultation, which had a mean of 4.55 and a standard deviation of 0.50. So among the three, communication is the lowest, and it has the 4.49 as a mean and standard deviation of 0.57. But overall, they all receive the descriptive equivalent of high. And then the indicator with the highest score is collaboration, indicating that residents observed Barangay Visayan Village is setting goals for community service, sports, and bayanihan in order to build trust with the people and understand their duties and responsibilities. So it belongs to collaboration, which gets the highest mean and standard deviation, followed by consultation. That means that the residents of Barangay Visayan Village, Tagum City, adequately handles the positive impact of activities such as drug symposiums to prevent everyone from using illegal drugs and to always allow us to engage in any program that may benefit us. It belongs to consultation. So, we're just giving you the common examples, like the drug symposiums as mentioned. And then lastly, the communication. And it shows there that residents observed Barangay Visayan Village are well informed about what is going on in the community and promote excellent communication for better understanding and make time to converse. The community is conversing with the public in order to create strong relationships. Moreover, their answers are probably the same and equal with regards to their age and gender provided by response rate reduction. These results are explained in the terms of knowledge of the residents and the researchers. And that's all for the results and discussion.
In this part, it conclude how effective community engagement in Barangay Visayan Village, Tagum City, and among these three categories or indicators, which indicator received the highest score. So, the following conclusions are drawn based on the preceding findings. The following conclusions are drawn. Barangay Visayan Village, Tagum City has a high level of implementation of effective community policing techniques. Collaboration received the highest score among the three categories, indicating that the level of community engagement in Barangay Visayan Village, Tagum City is very visible in this regard. Then comes consultation and finally communication. All receive a descriptive equivalent of high. Overall, the results were descriptively similar to high. This signifies that there is a high level of community engagement in Barangay Visayan Village, Tagum City.
Next is recommendation. After a coach's review of the study's finding and applicable conclusion, the accompanying recommendation are made. Because the level of community engagement in Barangay Visayan Village, Tagum City is high, it must be elevated to very high by encouraging new behaviors to replace old ways of doing things, recognizing the need for change, being transparent with the change processes, and having consistent leadership alignment, making action plans based on the survey result encouraging in order to achieve a very high outcome.